BeamNG drive is pretty terrible for controllers. You do have filters that you can apply. Only two of them. One is under gameplay, I believe. Let me go look. Nope, it's controls and filters. Go to pad because I'm talking about controllers, and you can limit the steering angle based on the speed. You can only limit the steering angle based on speed. Nothing else about it is modified. Just the angle based on speed. This is very inconsistent, as I'll explain in a... Actually, I'll just explain it now. It's very inconsistent because no matter how fast you're going, the speed at which you achieve, you go from 0% steering to 100% of your allowed steering is the same. And the time it takes for me to fully push my left stick in the right direction at 0 miles per hour is the same as if I were doing it at 1. I reach full lock in the same amount of time. And that's not something I can change. So if someone uses that filter as intended, where it slowly limits your lock at speed, well, you take one corner at 50 miles an hour, and you put your joystick to a certain position that feels right, and then you make it. And then the next corner, you take it like 90, and it feels like that same position should work. Well, too bad it doesn't. You have to apply your joystick probably more than you thought you would. This is very inconsistent and not effective. For a good comparison, this would be like using mouse acceleration, but not any good kind, the Windows kind. Which is why the best way this filter is used is just to have it go from 0 to 1 miles an hour, and then limit it to around like either 270 to 200 degrees based on how good you feel. Another thing this game doesn't have is any smart filtration based on car condition. So using my controller settings, for example, let me get to a really good corner where I can show this off. So I come into this corner, I lose my back end, right? Well, I go full lock, but I can't recover it because I only have access to around 200 degrees of steering angle. What other games do, like Project Cars, Assetto Corsa, blah blah blah, is they change the limit of your steering lock based on car condition. So if this was Project Cars and I had that same situation, I would have been able to crane my steering wheel probably 360 or more degrees. And in that case, I would have been able to capture the car and continue racing. But because there is none of that in this game, I'm stuck to just trying to use 200 or so degrees of angle to catch the car, which is impossible most of the time. Other filter you have is linearity. Go to controls, bindings, vehicle, steering. So in this case, I have linearity set at 2. 50% joystick condition does 25% steering input. So if I had 100 degrees of steering input allowed, I'd be doing 25 degrees of it. Of course, at 100, then 100. However, no matter what, can't change the speed. The speed at which it goes from 0 to 100% input. I've already mentioned this. So these are the two issues that hold BeamNG back for controller players. Input speed not being adjustable, or not being smartly filtered, and no smart filtration dealing with car condition. And the way this game comes out of the box, it's basically impossible. Some random person just pick up and play this game. With Project Cars Assetto Corsa, blah blah blah, within 30 minutes you've got a handle on how the car, or how the controls are. You're not spending time learning controls in competing racing games. In this game, you're spending time learning controls. It can take 5, 10, sometimes 20 hours just to get really good with these controls. Because you have to be so fine compared to like Forza, where you go full steering input and it does the maximum amount that you need. Which honestly is another thing in this game. If you go full lock while going a billion miles an hour, you're going full lock, despite 99% of your steering angle being useless and slowing you down. It doesn't smartly limit your steering angle at speeds. Say I'm going 50 miles an hour around a corner, and the ideal angle of my tires is 45 degrees. Well, in this game, it doesn't limit you to 45 degrees, it just limits you to whatever the limit really is. And every corner is different. So that initial setting they showed doesn't handle this. Anyway, BeamNG, it needs controls overhaul. Make it much more casual friendly.